It's day 32 of 118 days with the Tudors, and today we're looking at 1516, and this is the year that Princess Mary Tudor is born. But before we get straight into her birth, I'd like to really quickly talk a little bit about her mother, Katherine of Aragon's late pregnancy and confinement. Katherine has had a difficult few years with getting pregnant and staying pregnant and the children staying alive. So this is a very nerve-wracking time for her, and all the physicians around her want to make sure that things are done as properly as possible. But generally she's following the same rules as any other noblewoman would do around the birth of her child. So once it was decided by the professionals that the birth was fairly imminent of the child, she would have had to retire to her chamber, and she would have had to stay there for 40 days after the birth. Now this chamber needed to be carpeted, and the walls and ceiling needed to be covered with blue cloth. The only design that could be on this cloth was a fleur-de-lis, which is a symbol firstly of kind of the English rule over the French, but also a symbol of motherhood and the Virgin Mary. All windows bar one needed to be shut as well. The month before her confinement, she would be attending mass, and then before the time that she actually goes into confinement, people that attended mass with her, so members of the Privy Council and her women, join her in the great chamber. So her husband wouldn't be allowed. Henry isn't allowed in this part, but there would be men there, so members of the Privy Council. And she would be given wine and spices. Then eventually the men are told to leave, and she's just left with the women. At this point, she is shut away from the outside world. She has her professional midwives there, obviously they're women, and her other women are performing the duties that the men would have normally been doing. Now she's so shut off from the world and so protected and worried about that, bearing in mind Mary's born on the 18th of February, her father Ferdinand actually passes away on the 23rd of January, and she's not told because they're so worried that this might endanger the birth and endanger the child.